That was quite an honor to have her sing that song when she came to Denver a few months ago. Yeah, I was blown away by that. That somebody could actually look back and read the history of her age and put together a song that captured the moment in its essence. So thank you so much, everybody. Anybody have questions? Yes.
Is Charles Sherrod Mr. Shirley Sherrod?
Yes, they are married. They're still married, and they are the couple that I talked about. Yes.
I have a question about from Reconstruction to Booker T. And my question is when you talked about people only going into ag or not being able to go into law, did you see emigration from the South at that time to other parts of the country where people might have better opportunities or more opportunities?
And you brought up a good point.
Just curious about population.
Over, I think, between 1920 and 1970, over 12 million African Americans left and went to the north. They wanted other opportunities. Did somebody else have a question?
I did.
Yes.
When Rockefeller was making donations and supporting black institutions, did he do it openly?
I think it was open because people knew where could you get the money from. I mean, African Americans didn't have the money. They couldn't go to the banks. They did not have that kind of wealth to start up institutions like that. And they had a lot of white, let's say, teachers that gave up great careers to go down and train blacks at those colleges. There's no way that that money could come from the black community. Yes.
So yeah, from my history, Rockefeller teamed up with Dale Carnegie, and they established another character who changed his name to Carnegie, which a lot of people are familiar with, how to gain friends and win influence. And what, same as Rockefeller at that time and Henry Ford with the Jews, they needed the Jews to work in the factories and buy cars, and it was kind of a ploy to keep their industry at peace and keep them working too, and employ them and buy homes and work in the mines and coal mines. It was his way of bringing peace and by using them to buy something, education. It was a whole event that was kind of a mindset through Dale Carnegie and Andrew Carnegie.
Right. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes.
Well, I'm sure everyone realizes we still, as a society, have a long way to go. I worked for the county here, and the county road and bridge supervisor on the day after Martin, excuse me, on the day after Martin Luther King holiday, which we had off, he had a comment that just, I finally quit the county because of. I mean, not only that, but his comment was, all we'd have to do is kill 4 more, in words, and we could have the whole week off. And that just sickens me.
And so that's why I think what's pertinent about a situation like this is when you see this kind of thing happening, this movement, let's move and think about, well, these kind of things are still happening today. What am I going to do? Not what somebody else is going to do. Seeing the aspect of justice through your own eyes. So that's when it's time for, especially young people, to stand up and speak out. When you hear those kind of things, cut it off. Tell them why they're wrong. And use rationale, use good judgment, and use your divine wisdom to tell them what is the right thing. And because a lot of people are ignorant. When you really think about it, our conceptions of what are right and wrong come from our parents. When I see a little kid that may say something stupid like that, I look at the kid, I don't blame the kid, I blame the parent. So my thing is, when every child is born in this world, they are very, very open to justice, they're open to great morals, and it's up to the parents to do that. Now, when you get to be 25 years old and you've learned all this negative stuff, it's hard to take it out. But I can tell you what, there's hope. I'm going to give you a story about this one African-American guy, and I forgot his name. There's a book called Clandestine. And in this book, it talks about him wanting to investigate the Klan and find out what they were thinking. Why do they hate black people? So he went to this Klansman. He went to the top guy and said, can I kind of come around and see what you guys talk about and what you're doing and all this kind of stuff? And he was open to it. And this African-American guy started hanging around with the Klan, being a part of the activities and this kind of stuff. And this went on for like about 2 years. And do you know that what do they call themselves? The Clan Drag, what is that?
Grand Dragon?
Grand Dragon. That Grand Dragon was so infatuated with this African American man. He wanted the African American man to be his son's godfather. He soon left the Klan and began to educate the others to get out of the Klan. So it just goes to show that, you know, there's hope for everybody. If a Klansperson can, at the age of like 50 years old, because see, what he found out was all those stereotypes that I had in my head about this black man and about the black race were wrong, because now I had a chance to associate. And the reason why all this stuff happened for so long was we were separated, right, as ethnic groups. But then when there was this convergence, like when I was coming along, I had a chance to go to school with whites, had a chance to go to school with me, then all that stuff started going out of the window. I mean, I had my ideas about whites. You know, my thing was, I can never trust a white, right? I mean, you know, you have whites who feel like I'm superior to you, and you feel like, well, you're not superior, but I can't trust you. But after a while, you realize that people are people, you know? And every single baby, I have to go back and remind myself, every single child in the world comes in the world innocent. And the brainwashing goes on when they get in the hands of the parents or the grandparents. So I think that's the lesson we have to realize, that, you know, we can change society, but it's one person at a time. Any other comments from the young people? Yes, Kelly.
Jonathan, so you talked about, I know you were really young during this time and how you didn't want to be pulled into this and be where there's angry people, and then you went into the school. At some point, did you see the significance of it, or did you just say, I'm going to school, or did you still want to kind of stay out of it?
Well, I'm telling you, that first year was hard. Guys, I'm telling you, that first year, the 6 that went, 1 in each grade, was probably the hardest time of my life, because it's not like now. You know, like my kids are down in BV, and they're the only ones, but it's a totally different atmosphere. When I went to that school, they felt like, you're not supposed to be here. This is wrong. I don't know what's wrong with that Lyndon Johnson. And we want Goldwater to win. And so I remember all the kids were saying, nah, 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 nah. Goldwater's going to win, and we're going to send you back to Africa. Oh my God. And I started believing this stuff. I was hallucinating. It's like, we're going to go back to Africa, Mom? She said, don't worry, right? But I was worried. I was staying up at night thinking, when Goldwater gets in, he's going to put us on these ships and send us back to Africa. And I'll tell you, when Lyndon Johnson won, I think I was the happiest kid on the planet. And I went back the next day and said, Nanny, I'm not going back to Africa. Yes.
I'd just like to comment on what this gentleman said over here, just for your own information. You know, in Canyon City, there's a street called Macon, Georgia. And
Macon, Georgia?
Macon, Georgia.
Macon.
And at one time, Canyon City was the national headquarters of the Ku Klux Klan.
Wow.
And then in 1929, the Imperial Wizard, with all their pointy hats and stuff, marched downtown Salida in 1929. And through my work, I've seen buildings in downtown Salida where they had their meetings. But what you say about hope, my hope is, you know, if you would hear the eloquent speeches that Henry Delfante makes today and what John Lewis does today, and there's a black mayor of Atlantic City, New Jersey, that has the potential of being the governor of New Jersey, and the incarceration, and there's a mindset with, you know, prisons and stuff, and if we could just start eliminating the whole prison system and teaching what we're trying to teach, and all of us in this room have the power to pray and hope for a change, and it's another form of nonviolent protesting.
Thank you for those comments. Anybody else for the order? Come on, young people. I saw your hand up. I didn't see your hand? Okay. Anybody else?
I saw Sherrod, or one of the guys, he was arrested in Jackson,
Right.
Mississippi. Was that part of the Freedom Riders? Was he part
It
of
was,
that?
yes. Yes. I'm telling you, I met them, and I've never seen such courageous youth in my life. I mean, it's just spellbinding. They were not afraid of the police. When I was growing up, you didn't want to see a police, okay? My father would sit down with me and coach me at the age of 6 about how to respond if a policeman stops you on the street. Because I was all over the place. Back in those days, it was fancy free. You could ride your bicycle all over the place. But he said, you know, if a policeman ever stops you, you know, don't run away, be respectful, and he always had me thinking about that. But I'm telling you, it was a very tense time, and somehow we made it through. So.
You didn't say much about how your father reacted to your brother's leaving.
Oh my God, that was the first time he cried. As a matter of fact, in the book, Parting the Waters, that was the first time my father ever broke down and cried when that happened. It was amazing. And it was interesting because my mother's sister was attending New York University, and the very next day, it was on the front page of the New York Times that this happened, okay? She just happened to be walking up to the street level and saw on the front page her sister in the hospital. And I won't forget the day that we went, you know, because basically the baby was there. She had been kicked, the baby was there. And then around the 8th month, she didn't feel anything in the stomach, right? And so then my father took me to the hospital to get her. And so I remember her coming to the car, and she got in the front seat. And I said, "Mommy, where's the baby?" And there was no conversation all the way home. It was the longest, saddest ride that I've ever had. And they never discussed it. Ever. Never heard them say anything about that. But, you know, it was a hard thing to get through. It really was. So that was a tragedy. But you know something? Out of tragedy comes triumph, and out of that comes, you know, opportunities. So when we look back, we don't regret all those things that happened. They had to happen in order for us to gain that kind of freedom. So. Any other comments, guys? Comments, questions? If not, thank you so much for coming.